morning, family. Good morning, brother. It's Nalani, but that's okay.
Nalani. Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's not a problem at all. I'm just happy to be here. Happy to
Great.
be here. I do have an appointment I had scheduled until 12. However, I can stay on perhaps 15 minutes
Okay,
longer.
great.
That'll be okay. Great.
That'll be great. Well, why don't we jump right in? You've got
All
some
right.
great information to share with us, and if we could begin to get that information, I think that would be great for our audience because they came to hear you, and they see us and hear us every week. So, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I was talking about thinking about the connection between nutrition and exercise because a lot of us are into exercise and we really could use the knowledge of what happens to the body, what happens as we're exercising, and more importantly, how we can best take care of ourselves when we do exercise. I had planned a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know if you still would like to see some of that. However, yes, alrighty. So as I am pulling that up, I just wanted to reiterate that what my husband has said is the way that we function. And that has been my mantra for many years. And that is your health is in your own hands. We are not your healer. I am not your healer. I heal no one but myself. And that is comes to a shock to some people because we have doctors, as he mentioned, and others who say that they will heal you. It is our understanding that you heal you. And that's encouraging because it gives you back your power. And what we talk about often is one simple change. And there's a reason for that. When we're talking about exercise and nutrition, sometimes we are thinking of, as it says here, how am I supposed to eat? Am I supposed to have carbs or am I not supposed to have carbs? Some people say carbs are bad. How much exercise is good? How much exercise is too much? How much sleep? And all of these things, these are questions that people ask. And certainly at the beginning of the year, we make all kinds of promises to ourselves. Well, I'll tell you just a bit about myself. In 1968, when I had my first child, I became very health conscious and studied nutrition and became a nutritionist and thought I ate very well. Fast forward to 1996, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was told that my only option was surgery by more than one doctor. That's when I met Dr. Valentine. And he taught me to heal myself without drugs, without herbs, without a lot of vitamins, simply using fire, air, water, and earth, simply working on the way that I think, and using nutrition. After that, I became even more health conscious and I juiced every single day. I became what we call vegan, if you like labels. I was juicing every single day. And then I really thought I was more healthy and that I was getting enough fruits and vegetables. Well, the long story is now shorter. As I say, if you can see on the screen, for those of you who can see, I had developed arthritis in my hands. And this is when I was juicing every day and eating very well. And let me put a pin in that thought to make it clear that genetics have very little bit to do with what happens to you. A lot of times you may go to the doctor and he'll say, well, does your father have this? Does your mother have this? Is this in your family? And a lot of the times, what most of the time, in fact, all of the time, what we have in common with our family is the fact that we eat from the same table, okay? And going back generations. Now, that doesn't mean that genetics do not play a part, but they play such a small part that it is between 2% and at the very most 10%, at the
Wow.
very most.
Mm.
So Why is it then that you have something that your parents had? Well, you create your DNA from what you eat, from the way that you live, and that carries on. Yes. However, what they don't tell you is that genetics can be turned off or on. Genes can be either expressed or unexpressed, and that's the good news. So you can turn some of those quote bad genes off by the way you think, by eating well, by taking good care of yourself. So I had this, and that's why I stopped my story, because if I'm eating all well and I'm juicing every day, then why did I get this arthritis?
Mm.
Is it genetic? Well, actually, no. It's inflammation, internal inflammation that the body was not able to handle. And that's when I was introduced to a way to flood my body with over 35 different fruits, vegetables, and berries, actually over 45, all at one time. And it was a very simple way. And not overnight, but over time, that went away.
Mm.
There was no swelling. My fingers were no longer stiff and swollen. And I had a very large knuckle that actually went down. I couldn't believe it. And I had complete range of motion in my fingers. And I'll tell you something else. I love Zumba. I love dancing. And I have been able to take a nonstop 2 hour Zumba class. I mean, nonstop 2 hours that had people a third my age falling out. So I
Wow.
feel like I have as much energy at age 67. Oh, well, next month it'll be 68, as I did when I was 27 going on 28. And the only difference was that I added this one simple change that I'll be talking about. So, as I started to say before, we make all these promises to ourselves of what we're going to do. However, we end up looking like this poor guy because we try to do too much all at once. And if you take away anything from this talk that we have, decide on one thing that you're going to do. If it's adding more water to your diet, then do that. Whatever it is, the good news is that we can do it. You make the choice. You are the person who heals your body. And I hope that point gets across. So I'm going to whiz through this as quickly as I can. And I think I think we'll be okay time wise. Perhaps I can stay just a tad longer. Water, water. The point that I want to make here is, if you can just read this, I don't know how it shows up on your screen, but I'm not going to read all of them, but just bring out the point that water composes more than 75% of your brain, and it also, your muscles are not 75% protein, they are 75% water.
Wow.
75% water.
Mm.
So if you are not drinking half of your weight in ounces of water, then you're probably not getting enough. And if your urine is not almost clear, you probably are not getting enough. Now, of course, if you have kidney issues, then you must talk with your healthcare practitioner and adjust that. So this is a really good book by Dr. Bahman Khalij, and he says, you're not sick, you're just thirsty.
Mm.
And the title is Your Body's Many Cries for Water. Alrighty, so let's forward fast. So
Now, are
we
you
got,
showing us those images, or are you just talking about
yes, I am. Do you mean to tell me that you do not see them
them?
all this
No,
time?
but we're looking at you, so it's all good. It's not a problem.
Alrighty, well, we can fix that. We can fix that. Let's fix that right now. All this time. Alrighty then.
Yes, and we're talking to Dr. Nalani Valentine, and she's talking to us about her journey, and some of what it is that she shared with us I can relate to, because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis about maybe 15 years ago. And periodically I will experience discomfort in my knuckles or in my shoulder or my hip, my knee, and it always has to do with what I've been consuming. And so this is great. And for us to now get from a space where we believe that chronic disease is tied to our genetics to a point where we recognize that chronic disease is actually tied to our nutritional deficiency is really right on. So Dr. Nalani Valentine is going to continue her presentation. We're back with you now, Dr.
Are you
Valentine.
able to see?
I see the cat dancing at the top of the screen. Yes.
All right, so that's the exercise part. Well, every single thing that you see here is a real good component of healthy eating. However, and I keep intending to change this because this is not all micronutrition. As you can see, some macronutrition with it. You see some flesh, fish, and you see some grains, and that's all part of macronutrition. However, the reason I draw the lines between micro and macro, between detoxing and micronutrition, is that if we were in a pristine environment, we would not have to do any detoxing. There would be no need for it because the body is made to take care of itself. The body is made to heal itself once it's given everything that it requires. However, as we used to say, how's and never, um, the detoxing is so important today because of the environment, the obvious reasons of the air we breathe, the water we drink, the toxic energy that comes from others, the toxic energy that we allow to come from ourselves, all of that plays an important part. So, detoxing occasionally is very important. And perhaps the next time we get together, I'll go more deeply into this whole presentation. But the point I want to make here, besides the fact that we need all of these components, micro and macronutrition, because quiet as it's kept, it's important to have carbs. So the micronutrition, of course, are your vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. Phyto is just a fancy word for plant. Plant chemicals, phytonutrients. They nourish, cleanse. The internal cell maintenance is comes from those micronutrients. But the macronutrients, if you look carefully, you'll see that if you don't have protein, carbohydrates, and fat, then your brain is not going to function well. And actually, we can move that, the carbohydrates, sugar, let me just make this clear. Not just sugar, but glucose is the only nutrition that the brain uses. Glucose, sugar, not the processed stuff, but that is the only thing your brain needs. So if you don't have carbohydrates, where are you getting your sugar from? The body breaks down sugar first because it uses that right away, and then protein. So if you don't get your carbohydrates, the body's going to start breaking down the fat and then the protein to convert it into glucose so that your brain can function. So it's important that we have all of these components. So for lack of time, I'm not going to go too deeply into this, and perhaps we can do this the next time so we won't be rushing through it.
Yeah.
However, all of these reasons, some of them we recognize. Okay, obesity, we know if we exercise, we're going to lose some of that weight. I don't know if people realize that cancer, lack of exercise can be connected to that. And dementia and having a stroke, all of these things can be affected with exercise, either with it or without it. So without exercise, the obvious, we gain weight, but also the leading causes of death, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and certain cancers, and depression without exercise. Sluggish heart and circulation, weak muscles, that's obvious, feeling like this poor little doggy down here, stiff joints, and fibrous tissue. And that tissue just begins to build and build and build, and sometimes it builds within the cellular wall. Not only the cellular wall, but it builds within, that tissue does not build within the cellular wall. The cells make the tissue. So let me slow down and make it right. Within your blood vessels, your arteries and veins. People talk a lot about cholesterol, for instance. But what they don't recognize is that the foods that we eat can irritate the cellular wall. And it's just like if you would scratch your skin, you will add fibrin to help it to heal, and there would be pus and all kinds of stuff, and then it'll get hard. Well, that happens on the inside as well. So that's very important. And when you're exercising, you're not only giving the body more oxygen and creating more energy by the exercise, but you are also opening up certain parts within the cellular wall and within those blood vessels to actually heal itself. And we'll talk more about that at another time. And so there are three kinds of exercise that we talk about here: the aerobic, which is important, endurance for the heart and lungs, the strength building, weight bearing, and just one other tip is that people think we need more calcium for strong bones, when actually we need more exercise for strong bones. Just like you exercise for strong muscles, those muscles are attached to the bone. The muscle pulls on the bone and tells the bone, oh, we need more calcium, we need to get stronger. And the body deposits that calcium in the bone based on the exercise that we do. Stretching for flexibility, all of those things are important. So now, according to the Departments of Agriculture and Health and Human Services, I wonder if you know how many servings we should have of fruits and vegetables. It blew my mind when I found out.
Wow.
9 to 13 servings of hopefully raw, and a serving is about the size of your fist. 9 to 13 servings every single day. And I loved having that kind of information, but I know it's difficult, even for those of us who are vegetarians. And the question is why? And the reason is that we don't have this kind of nutrition in the foods that we're eating that we had even in the 1940s when I was born. Broccoli today has 80% less nutrition than it did in the 1940s. That just blew me away. 80% less nutrition.
Hmm.
So we're not getting what we thought we think we're getting. And those of us, even those of us who are vegan, vegetarian, whatever the label you want to be, juicing every single day, I still developed that arthritis. But when I added this added nutrition that I'm going to introduce to you right now, then that's when over time, because it's not a drug, it's not an herb, it's not a stimulant, it's just superior nutrition that the cells are really starving for. But if you look at these apples, this demonstrates how oxidative stress breaks down your cells and it causes premature aging, disease, and death. And the next time we'll do this same presentation, I won't rush through it and I'll talk a little bit more about that. If we look on the left side, you'll see oxidation occurring. On the right side, there are antioxidants that were in the form of lemon juice that actually protected it. This apple is aging on the left and it's being preserved on the right. And our only protection against this kind of free radical damage are the carotenoids, the colors in the fruits and vegetables. And sometimes I give a presentation on color. Why do we need the colors in food? And this is the reason why. So we flood our bodies. We flood our bodies with Juice Plus. And Queen Zatiti can tell you because she also represents Juice Plus as well. And she can tell you, I'm sure she knows of people who have experienced such a change. And this is what helped me. This is what gives me that energy to get up and run every single day outside and walk, run, Zumba, dance, and no more pain in the fingers. So, but just look at what you get: apples, acerola cherries, beets, cranberry, date, orange, pineapple, papaya, peach, prune, more beets, broccoli, brown rice, and the brown rice and the oat bran are gluten free. Carrots, which are contrary to some beliefs, actually, that was the only thing I had during my healing process. I had carrot juice. So if it was harmful in any way, it sure would have shown itself then. Cabbage, kale, garlic, all of these. I don't know about you, but even when I was juicing, I wasn't getting all this much. I was juicing the same thing because we tend to buy the same things. We buy what we like, we eat what we like. And when I was juicing, it was carrot, parsley, kale, carrot, parsley, kale. That was it. And so now I'm getting all of these fruits and vegetables in my bloodstream. There's a video that I will show you, a short video by Dr. Fowler, the next time. So stay tuned for that. I just want to share with you that I don't know if you have any idea of how many nutrients are in an apple, an average apple. There are almost 12,000. 10,000 have already been named, have already been isolated and named. So these are not just numbers that we're pulling out of the air. 12,000. So, and what you see here is a list of only 400. So if we take a few vitamins and minerals, even if we took 50 and put it in a pill and call it a complete vitamin, it's almost a joke, but it's not funny. We need whole food. The body recognizes nothing, and I mean nothing, but food as food. And that is why this has made such a difference in our lives. We have a health program where children can get Juice Plus for free with an adult order. And just look at the results that they're getting. 60% are missing fewer days of school. 61% are eating more fruits and vegetables because whatever you eat, the body creates what we call somatic cells. That's our warning that our time is visiting the doctors less, and 90% are reaping a positive benefit of some kind. That's wonderful. It is whole food. It has great farming practices. It is NSF certified, which is a third party, which is much higher than what you will find in anything on the shelves. In fact, this is what the Olympians look to for purity. And it is the most researched nutritional product in history. And we'll talk a little bit about that next time. These are some of the institutions that have done the research, and it's amazing. There's also the complete shake that we'll talk about next time. And there's another video that we'll get to see. And I'm going to just show you some healthy results. Our friend here, Joel on the left, was 31 in this picture, and he's 47 in the picture on the right. That speaks for itself. It's not a weight loss program, but Rachel did
Dr. Valentine.
those of you who are underweight will balance. And our time is vital. Yes? Have we ended?
No, it was breaking up a little bit, but we're hearing you much better
Are
now.
you there?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Well, our time is up, I think. I will share this with at another time. Let me stop the screen. And our time is up.
Okay. Well, one, we want to thank you for coming on board. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but prayerfully you will accept our invitation to come back and share with us that
Absolutely.
great information that you have. So we want you to be a participant in what it is that we do as we educate and empower people. And you're right in alignment, as is Dr. Phil Valentine, in alignment with the direction that we're taking. So we want to again thank you, extend the invitation, and we're going to be calling you and scheduling and seeing whether we can get you back in so that we can continue and get all of those nuggets that we couldn't get today because of our shortness of time. Once again, we apologize for that. But you've been listening to Dr. Nalani Valentine, and she's been talking to us about her journey, her health journey, and what has worked for her. And Dr. Valentine, is there some place where you'd like for people to go to find out more information?
Yes, they can go to, well, there are two. I don't know if Queens of TT, do you have Queens of TT's information, her website information?
Well, what I'll do is I'll get that because
Okay,
she's actually on the call, so I'll get
okay,
that information and I will provide that for those in the viewing and listening
okay.
audience.
And
So
I can give you mine. That is N Valentine, N like Nancy, Valentine dot juiceplus.com.
okay, great, great,
nvalentine.juiceplus.com. And if you have children, please don't order. Just go there for the information because we can help the child get it for free. But
great.
if you want to go there and order yourself, you can.
I've got children, but they're like older. Does that still qualify?
Are
Because I
they
do
in
have
college?
children.
Are they full-time college students?
I've got two that are college and below.
One of them can get it for free.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, I
great.
mean they both can if with every order. So if you have two orders, two children can get it. Two young people can get it for free.
All right, good. And I know your time is short. I'll ask one more question. I don't know whether Halise you
As
have a.
long as the system allows us, it may shut us off.
Oh, okay. That the is this then the replacement? Is this the complete replacement for that which we need in order to fulfill our nutritional requirement over the course of a day?
I'm so glad you asked that question. It does not replace anything. It
Okay,
is very important to know that this is a gap filler. It fills in the gap between all the food that we're eating and the nutrition that we're not getting.
okay.
That's what it does. It'll fill in that gap.
Okay, great. Well, we got Sister Zatiti's information. It's zatiti.juiceplus.com, and that's zatiti.juiceplus.com. So,
There you
again, Dr. Valentine, you and your husband, we greatly appreciate you all coming on board with us today, and we look forward to having you back on so we can continue to get educated and empowered. And
Thank you.
we appreciate your life work. We're gonna have to go back and forth a little bit about you being born in the 40s. We're not quite comfortable with her being born and having children in the 60s. I'm like, well, wait a minute, how did that work? So you look beautiful. It's
Thank
definitely
you.
working for you. So we thank you very much, and
Thank you.
we will have you back soon. So you all,
Alrighty.
great
Peace.
peace. You all in the listening audience and viewing audience, you all stay tuned. We're gonna have the Dr. Valentine's back on to share with us this great wisdom. And in the meantime, we will continue on with our great programming as we do so oftentimes kind of shift gears. So we are going to shift gears here and move a little bit away from health, but you all stay tuned to the eLife Media Network. We're going to be right back in just one moment.